A Son is a 2019 Taiwanese drama film directed and co-written by Zhong Meng-hong, and it actually won Best Picture in the Taiwanese Film Festival Awards called the Golden Horse Awards. This is a very heavy film, very, very well acted and directed, pretty artsy at parts and very slow overall. If you like drama films, I recommend it. I think this is one of the strongest Taiwanese films I have seen, but it is quite slow. I'll give a brief summary and then we'll go into more details about my thoughts. A Son is about a troublesome teenager named Ah, and he's arrested after him and his friend called Radish or Caito. They assault someone and he goes to prison. He's sentenced to juvenile detention, and this is about how his family, he has parents and also an older brother, deal with his incarceration and deal with their own life. His brother is the golden child, he is the problem child, and that sets up a lot of familial drama, and there's pressure on both sons and there's a lot of pressure on the mom and the dad, and we see how they each individually cope with this terrible thing with their son being essentially in prison. It's juvenile detention, but it's it's prison. And the older brother, who is very kind, is also dealing with his own demons. This is an epic film, and when I say epic, I don't mean like Lord of the Rings epic. I mean it spans a long period of time and it touches very, very deeply on themes. It's also very artistic. All the shots are beautifully done. The director takes care in all of his shot selection and the scene compositions. That's part of why I think some people might feel impatient. Honestly, I know I did. This is a 2.5 hour film. Some scenes linger on so long. Luckily, they are so beautifully filmed. I thought all of the actors in this are very strong, especially the lead in Ah. He is one of the rare actors where he emotes very little, but in the blankness of his face, there's just so much under the surface, and it's very rare that people can do this. He reminds me a lot of Ryan Gosling, who, I mean, there's memes about Ryan Gosling not really emoting, but personally I think he's one of the strongest actors when you can convey so much feeling without doing much, and Aha is definitely one of those actors that can do that. I thought he juxtaposed his brother very, very well. His brother is more handsome and is just kinder and more energy, and he has this gentleness to him, and Aha has this just raw, dangerous edge to him, but also this incredible vulnerability. The mom and the father also do a great job. The father, I felt like he was slightly overacting at times. It didn't hit me the same way, but as the movie progresses, his acting style grew on me. Maybe I just hated the character too much. One of the main antagonists, I guess his old friend, Aha's old friend, that was his accomplice in the crime. I thought he did a great job. I hated him. There's this sense of dread that permeates through this whole film because we can see people trying to fix themselves, and it's so hard. And this goes back to the writing. There's a lot of poetry and lessons and musings. Sections of this film felt like little short films or snippets or poems, and they would tell these mini little stories. And this is one of the rare films where when they did that, I actually quite enjoyed them. The stories were all very subtle, but you could still get the theme of it. It was always about just the kind of the pressure of society or the pressure of playing your role. And nobody is happy in this film. Everybody is struggling. And I don't want to say too much to spoil it. I recommend this film. It's a long one, but I think it's very well done. If you want to stay a little bit longer, I do want to talk a little bit more about the themes and just go more into the story. So this is a light spoiler warning. The older brother, we find out, unfortunately, at some point, he takes his own life. His story refers to the title of the story. It's called A Son. And I love the story he tells about the old, I think it was a philosopher or something. I'm not going to go look. I'm trying to just say this in one go. So this is just, my memory's a little foggy. That's something I really resonated, personally, as a golden child. I'm just kidding. I'm not a golden child. I was a bad student, actually. But I am the only son of my family. And I definitely resonated under, like, you have all these expectations on you. And he really flips it. Like, you would think a son is usually this awesome, positive thing. But for the older brother, always being under the sun was exhausting. And he would see the animals at the zoo trying to avoid the sun. When he's the star of his family, it just got too much. And we never learned the details of exactly how he was feeling. Because the whole time outwardly, he was this happy, awesome, nice, handsome guy. He was going out with this really pretty, kind girl. It seemed like everything was going for him, except that story. He was trying to help everybody, and he just couldn't take it anymore. And there's probably so many more deeper demons that we never got a chance to uncover. But I was fine with how they did that. I really like that character development. No matter how tragic it is, I think that's something a lot of people can resonate with, no matter who you are or what position in your family is. When there's that much attention on you, it can be oppressing. And on the flip side, there's Ah. Even though his plight is on the surface worse, it's like he had less to lose than his brother, because he was always the problem child, even when he was young. And of course, that gave him a huge chip on his shoulder and probably contributed to his having that type of dad. It definitely didn't help. Zero emotional expression and maturity and connectedness. But his redemption arc was very, very satisfying. He suffers a lot. I mean, he did something terrible and accomplished to such a violent act as cutting off someone's arm. But it seems like he really learned his lesson and he grew. And this was almost like a PSA for the juvenile system, because at least in this film, the juvenile detention system seemed okay. There was that hazing bit in the beginning that was more intense, but overall, like, they had food, they have chores, they had to do the exercises together. It seemed like it honestly helped. Yeah, maybe that type of juvenile detention is better. I don't know what juvenile detention is like or prison is like in Taiwan, but what I saw on screen, it seemed very real. And I want to note that all the secondary actors that weren't the leads, this is a very, very naturalistic movie. And it felt super, super authentic. No one overacting, at least the secondary characters. I would say maybe some of the main characters at parts had to, act a little bit harder. And I could feel that. But overall, yeah, it was well done. I like the themes. The one thing that didn't really hit the note for me exactly was the ending, when it was revealed that the father was the one that killed his son's tormentor. I thought that seemed a little bit hammy and contrived, but thematically it wrapped it up. I like the father's journey of being such an asshole. I'm just going to say it. He was being kind of a dick the whole time. But at the end, he's telling his wife that, I still loved him. But I mean, more than 2 hours of him being that dick, like, I couldn't really take it anymore. I get it, but it was a little bit plotty for me. The last scene with Ah and his mom, though, I also like that. This film is written well. I think it wraps up all of its storylines. It doesn't leave anything really up to the imagination. It's a full, complete story. My parents are from Taiwan, and I don't get to watch too many Taiwanese films, so it's really cool to see this level of care being put into a film, especially cinematography wise and acting wise, top notch.